Hey, thanks for joining me.
Happy to be here.
Yeah. Um, just about to come out with the Singularity Phase 2, which is a brutal monster of an album. Tell me how it took 9 years.
It took 9 years because we had some stuff getting in the way. I I suppose. Yeah. So I wrote the album in 16, recorded most of the all the principal tracks in 16 and 17, and then I s- uh, there's no better word for it than to say that I sort of fell out of love with with everything. It not in a super dramatic way and not in a big way, but I just felt a bit overwhelmed with being in charge of everything, being the
Mm, mm,
tour manager, being the business manager, being the songwriter, producer, uh, handling everything, and we had some kind of unfortunate events in that we had some tours where we had gear that broke down, just things like that different kinds of things that wore me down. So at the end of 17, I was or 16, I was feeling like I would like to do something else for a bit. I would like
mm.
to not be in charge, just play my guitar, and then like the right after thought that thought, I started getting calls from bands. So first, a pretty big Swedish band called me like, "Can you do a tour with us?" And I had to turn them down because it wasn't really my music. But then Nocturnal Rights, the classic Swedish power metal band, they called me like, "Do you want to join the band?" Their guitar player had joined Sabaton, so I started playing with them and made an album. And but then I got the call from Meshuggah, like, "Can you do a tour?" And that turned into two tours, three tours, and like a good few years of touring with them. So we never we never put Scar Symmetry on a total hiatus. It was we did some shows every now and then, and also every now and then I picked up working on the album, did some stuff, recorded some layers, uh, but I was mainly busy doing the other things. And then in 19 I became a dad, uh, and in 20 the pandemic happened, which slowed things down for everyone, of course. So
Yeah.
yeah, so it's a long line of events, and finally when we signed a new um deal with Nuclear Blast, we renewed our vows, so to speak. Uh, and everything was just coming together nicely. The All the stuff that I used to be very stressed about, all the managing, I got myself a manager for the band and new booking agents. I got myself like a really good accountant. I got myself a lawyer and all these things that wasn't set up the proper way back
Yeah.
in the
Yeah.
day. I actually learned a lot from playing with a big band like Meshuggah, because they figured all of this out early because they had to, because they got big, you know, kind of early. Whereas Scar
Mm.
Symmetry has been a smaller band, so we've been able to handle things on our own. But now I really wanted to make everything the best it could be. And then we had an artwork artist that was hired to do the artwork for the new album, and his mom passed, and he ended up in a very bad place, and he could never bring himself back to finishing the artwork. And we wanted to give him all the time that he needed, of course, but
Mm.
actually it was over 6 months that he was, like, "I'm gonna do it next week," and but he could never pull himself together to do it, and which I can totally understand. But eventually we had to move on. We found a new guy, Pierre-Alain Durand from France who made artwork. But that whole thing like uh, pushed the album like almost a year
Yeah.
to so where like it wouldn't have been 9 years, it would have been 8 years if it that unfortunate thing wouldn't have happened. But I don't know, it feels like the kind of response we've gotten now seems like it's I don't know, it's all good.
Yeah.
Everyone
Yeah.
seems happy. Like most fans seem to have stuck around, waited waited for us. So.
So, what did you do on the album? Pretty much everything, I'm led to believe.
Yeah, I mean, I wrote all the music, none of the lyrics, but all of the music.
Right.
I produced it. I tracked everything, um, and I play bass, keyboards, all the rhythm guitar tracks. Uh, I guess the majority of leads, but also Benjamin plays a bunch of leads. The album was written before he joined the band actually,
Hmm.
so it was written for one lead guitar. So I had to make room for more solos, and he got some of the spots that I was supposed to play on. But yeah, and I do most of the backing vocals. I did the mixing and mastering, and so basically same thing as I did with phase one.
Hmm. So, tell us about phase two. It's a big storyline. Give us a quick run through of phase one and how it leads on to phase two and how it's connected.
Yeah, so phase one is kind of rooted in reality, something that could be real, and stuff that is like we're seeing now is becoming increasingly real,
Hmm.
uh, with the rise of AI, um, and it's about the technological singularity. What happens when we reach the point where artificial intelligence is superior to man's intelligence, and when AI is driving the evolution of technology and sort of leaving our poor tiny little intellects behind because we won't be able to understand what's happening.
Hmm.
So that's the singularity, and in phase one, like the prediction, and this is not our prediction, is like what people some people have like said that by 2045 we will reach this, but as I'm thinking now, it might happen earlier.
Hmm.
uh, so in phase one, artificial intelligence exists and it's the future, and people can start upgrading themselves. They can get like uh, brain implants and stuff, so people can also uh, be artificially enhanced, have their intelligence enhanced to match the AI, and uh, and what happens is that the AI turns malevolent and starts scheming against the unmodified mankind, and and since the AI is connected to all of the modified neo-humans, it can make them like do their bidding uh, in the physical world. So they start enslaving and waging war upon the unmodified mankind, which is the majority of mankind, because most people cannot afford to upgrade and do these things. So it's basically the elite that has been able to embrace the technology. So that's phase one. It ends in a pretty bleak place when unmodified mankind is being hunted and enslaved. So phase two starts, and this big war is happening, and suddenly uh, aliens appear. Why not?
Hmm. Why not?
So we phase one is kind of happening in a way right now in the world, like the rise of AI. It's not as dystopian yet. We'll see where
Yet.
it all ends up. Yeah, like
Yet.
it's a weird time for sure.
Mm.
But then these aliens, they show up. They have been watching and like interfering with the evolution of mankind for millennia, and that's have been like an idea that science fiction writers have written about in the past. It's I guess it's not an original idea of ours, but we think it's an interesting and cool concept. So they are taking the side of the unmodified humans because they are seeing that they are losing the war, and the aliens feel like mankind is sort of they've been responsible for them in the past, like guiding them through the evolution. So they are stepping in to help them, and suddenly the like things are looking worse for neo humans. But then uh, um, you realize that the aliens might have some ulterior motives of their own. So that's basically phase two. So it goes from this thing that is actually happening right now in a way to something that's at least that's not happening yet. There's no aliens, though there were some like all of these weird balloon sightings, like and people were like, is this alien spacecraft? So we'll see it when the next phase is coming out. Maybe this thing has become reality as well.
Mm. Have you started planning that already, or have you just sort of set a sort of direction which you will fill in the blanks, if you like, later on? Or have you actually
Uh,
started writing?
I haven't started writing, uh, but before we even wrote the first album, we had a synopsis. We made a synopsis
Yep.
for the entire thing, which sort of guided me. Obviously, it guided Henrik in his how like the lyrics were going, but also for me, it guided what direction the music took. So phase one is kind of progressive and it leans towards the melodic side of what we do, and phase
Mm.
two is yeah, it's leaning more in the opposite direction. It's more death metal. It's more blast beats. It's darker. It contains some of the like the happy bright stuff as well for sure.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. What
But
happens
yeah,
now? Are you the album's coming out very soon, and are you able to tour? Have you got time to tour?
sure. We just came off a short arena tour with Meshuggah in Sweden, which coincided with the release of the first single. We released the first single on the day of the first show, which was really nice. Um, yeah, so we've done 7 shows so far. We did the festival as well, and now we have a small amount of summer festivals, like 5 or 6 festivals that we'll be doing in Europe. Uh, and yeah, from the autumn on, we hope to do more.
Yeah. All right.
So yeah, we were a little bit late to the game with the festivals. They always, book pretty far in advance, and they have a
Yeah.
backlog of like canceled lineups.
Yeah, that's the thing, isn't it? With all the shit that was happening during COVID, as soon as COVID broke, if you like, all these bands suddenly want to get out on the road. This many bands trying to fit into this many venues and
Hmm.
festivals. So it's
Yeah,
a bit of a logjam.
it is, and yeah, and we can tell that a lot of bands, like everyone's struggling. Bands are struggling because they want to get
Mm.
back out, and
Mm, yeah.
promoters and venues, the promoters and venues that are still doing this, they lost a lot of money, so
Mm.
it's very difficult now to secure good good deals as a band, and especially us, since I toured with other bands for a few years, we didn't tour all that much during these past like almost 9 years. Uh, so yeah, so we don't have a super strong track record of how many people we
Mm.
bring out. So it's, yeah, so just we have a lot of work ahead of us, you know, getting the show back on the road and proving ourselves to promoters and fans and sort of all of that stuff.
I'm sure you'll do well. One thing I wanted to ask you, guitarists love to talk about their guitars. Tell me about your Strandberg model. I've seen some pictures and some videos of that.
Oh, there
Oh,
it
he just
is.
happens to have it there.
Yeah, yeah, I love this one. It's a
Tell me about
fantastic
those
instrument.
frets. Tell me about those frets.
Yeah, people when they see them, they are like, "Go home, Frets, you are drunk."
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's a Swedish invention. It's called True Temperament, and it's basically on a regular guitar, all the frets are like straight. They are not crooked as this one,
Mm,
and that is sort of like an like you would think that like dividing the string up in this um, in these frets would be like the intonation would work because like the math would work, uh, but it doesn't because it doesn't take into account there's the gauges of the strings
mm,
and and the material of the strings and the action, which is like the distance from the
mm,
string
yeah,
to the
mm.
fret. So that it doesn't take into account those things. So on a regular guitars, that end up in slight intonation errors, and guitar players have always been struggling. You tune your guitar so that some open voiced chords sound good, and then you do another one, and the G string or something is horribly out of tune. And then you try to compensate it, but then the other chords became out of tune as well. So it's very difficult. So this one is rectifying most of these things. So you take one chord and you can transpose it all over the fretboard, and it's the same intonation everywhere.
It's just, yeah, blows my mind. How much did you have to adjust your style of playing? I'm asking as a non-guitarist who doesn't know this shit.
Yeah.
Did you have to adjust your style of playing, or does the style you play just fit right into that?
Yeah, it was super seamless actually because it looks a little bit weird, but
It
like
looks a lot weird.
you can't really feel it when you play because like it's
Right, okay.
like holding the string is like most of the like the tactile thing, so you don't really feel the fret all that much.
Right, okay. I've got a son who's recently taken up guitar again, and he wants a Strandberg, is what he's been telling me.
Yeah, yeah, it's really interesting because uh, I first tried a Strandberg in 2013 when I started going to these big instrument the trade shows,
Hmm.
the NAM in the US
Nam,
and
yeah, yeah.
Musikmesse that they had in Germany. So I got to know Ola Strandberg, and back then his brand was really tiny. He was like building guitars out of his garage,
Hmm.
and he had just started working with like other manufacturers, but it was still very early on, and to see now where it's basically a major guitar brand, and
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
it's it's shifted from where people were like, that doesn't look like a Stratocaster, that doesn't look like a Les Paul, what's up with the headstock, like you don't have a head, that looks stupid, the people were skeptical, but then sort of the younger generation of especially prog metal bands
Hmm. Yeah.
It had guys like Tosin Abasi from Animals to Theaters and Misha from Periphery. There was like some really big names that started playing Strandberg. Maybe not exclusively, but they were people saw them with these guitars and people got interested. And now it's like for a young guitar player who plays especially prog metal, but even like fusion and other kinds of metal, Strandberg is like the brand
Mm. Mm.
for that kind of thing. Like and I don't know. They don't want to have a dad guitar. They, like a Stratocaster. That's oh, my grandpa played a Stratocaster.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I mean I'm not one of the young guys. I'm 49, so maybe I'm too old for a Strandberg, but I don't care.
It's been so good to talk to you. Best of luck with the Singularity Phase 2.
Thank you very much.
Best of luck with all your festival shows, and hope you get back out on the road on a tour of your own very soon.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for showing me your guitar and explaining that fret to me, because it's just insane.
Yeah.
Blew my mind. When I
That's
first
cool.
saw it, I thought there was something wrong with the photograph, actually. I thought, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
If you could just do
But all the other lines are straight. Yeah, sure.
If you could do one thing for me, give us the horns up in the camera.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent. Thanks so much. So thanks so much for joining me. Best of luck with the new Scar Symmetry album, and you have a great day. Congratulations on becoming a father too.
Thank you very much. I'll see you next time. Next album.
Yes. Next.
Yeah.
And kick Nocturnal Rites into gear.
Yeah. I'll see you for that album.
Excellent. You have a great day, mate. Thanks for joining me. Have a great day.
Take care, man. Bye.
Bye.